I do want to just comment on this tweet that I saw as well. So this was one that I thought about, doing live stream reacting to this tweet. But I was like, I'll just save it. I'll save it for when I do the show again. But this was, when was this? This was the day after Christmas. And Patrick Miller, who is one of the hosts of Truth Over Tribe, which I checked out a long time ago, and it seemed pretty solid. I know he also does some writing for the Gospel Coalition. Seems like he's like wanting to be like the tech guy, but this was frustrating. So he tweeted this: "I like Christianity Today, but when 15 of your top 20 pieces focus on scandals in evangelicalism, and 9 of those 15 center on celebrity, Christian drama, you begin to wonder if CT is making a killing by killing trust in the church. Let me explain. I'm not going to go into the explanation. You can go and look that up for yourself. It is way long, and I don't think he really says anything that's going to soften what he says here. And I tweeted at something. I retweeted this and said something, and he tweeted back at me, and then he just disappeared. So this tweet is awful, and this thread is awful. The thought is awful. There's a difference. There's a difference between talking about something and promoting something, or trying to make money off of something. And really, this is like such a flawed thought. 15 of your top 20 pieces. Okay. Like, because people are interested to know the truth about pastors, that makes it like that they purposely made it. Like, there's no way you can know that people are going to read anything. Like here on YouTube, I run into that. Sometimes I talk about something like Brian Houston. I made a video about how Brian Houston was coming back, and that didn't get like any views. And like, if you were just looking at things and saying, okay, popular person plus scandal equals views, or here in Christianity Today reads, then you would think that video would have done super well. You don't know. You don't know what people are going to connect with, what people are going to be interested in. You can just put it out there and see what happens. And you're not responsible for, like making it, like, how can you even be in control? That's my point. How could you be in control of what your top videos, what your top articles are? You can't be. So you make the content because it's there, because it's happening, because these stories are out there and someone should be talking about them. And I am glad that Christianity Today, not that they're perfect, and even some of their coverage on some of these stories, I don't think has been great. I'll just say that. But to like try to be like, oh, they're trying to like harm the church by killing trust in the church. You know who killed trust in the church? The leaders who did that stuff. Don't blame. And I know he went back on this and said, that's not exactly what I meant. Well, you didn't delete the tweet. So I'm assuming that when you said that Christianity Today is killing trust in the church, that you mean it and that you stand by it. These writers are doing their best to try to just write about what's happening. They do not create these stories. I don't create the stories that I talk about. I react and I say, hey, like, I'm not a reporter. I don't have to talk about everything. These people have an obligation to say, hey, we're talking about what's happening in Christianity Today. Like, that includes some of the scandals, and they shouldn't be held responsible because people read those articles. Like, Jesus is the one who is responsible for the credibility of the church. Like, you don't have an obligation to defend the church. Do you know that? You aren't going to see that in Scripture. Now, you are to treat people in a right way, not to gossip about them, not to make up things, not to lie, not to bear false witness. all of that. But when you say this happened in the church, it is not your fault that it happened in the church. You know whose fault it is? It is the person that did that in the church. And I'm just so sick of seeing people like this. And they try to build platforms through pointing out, oh, all these people, they really don't like the church. No, they don't like that pastor who hurt that person. They don't like that pastor who is promoting this other pastor who hurt people. Like these 4 pastors that got together and were talking about how Johnny Hunt, who, if you read the Guidestone Solutions report, like awful, should go to prison for what he did. But, they talked with him, and now he's, allowed back into ministry. He's cleared for ministry because 4 pastors said so. Christianity Today should write about that. And it's not them killing the trust in the church. It is those leaders who have killed trust in the church. Stop shooting the messenger and maybe talk about the people who actually are the ones responsible for the message at all. So I just wanted to talk about that just a little bit. I know it's kind of old now, but I just saw that and was like, no, this is so wrong, and it leads to so many people thinking that we shouldn't talk about these things. That, like, if this is the kind of thing that leads to people thinking that it's not okay for them to tell their own stories, because what about the church? What about the reputation of the church? And again, I will say this, and I will keep on saying this forever until Jesus comes back. What is more damning for the church? That a pastor was fake and did these things, or that a pastor was fake and did these things and good people knew about it and they covered it up by not talking about it? That's the kind of scandal that the world goes like, wait, what? And you call yourselves Christians? Everyone knows that there are going to be people that do awful, monstrous things. That happens. That happens in the secular world, and it does happen in the lowercase c church. It doesn't mean that they're real, but people understand that happens. What people don't understand, what makes people hypocrites, is when they make excuses for that person and they don't talk about it. And talking about, the reputation of the church. Hard pass. Hard pass. Oh yeah? Well, get your own YouTube then. Oh, hey, you made it all the way through the video. That's actually kind of shocking. Hey, if you did, that means that you probably like it, so might as well hit the like button, right? Also, you can go over here and click on a video. I don't know what it is, but YouTube will be like, hey, you should watch this, and maybe they know. Maybe the algorithm is right. Maybe AI knows everything. Maybe it's taking over the world. I think it's taking over the world.